So my name's Dave Coplin and I have a comedy job title. I'm a Chief Envisioning Officer, check me out. Basically means I work in IT, but I've got delusions of grandeur. So for me, human-centered AI is all about remembering the human, not so much even in the loop, but actually AI is something that should elevate human capability rather than replace it. So we tend to design AI systems for efficiency, which basically means how do we do the stuff that humans do more quickly, when what we should be doing is how do we help the human do more than they could have done before they had our help. And that's really putting the human at the center of everything. So the single most important thing that a leader can do when they're looking at where to deploy AI in their organization is to stop chasing efficiency, right? And it's really hard because we're hardwired to think about efficiency. That's how our economies run. That's how businesses have run, certainly since the Industrial Revolution. But efficiency is about doing the same stuff quicker and cheaper. And AI gives us the ability to do, to create outcomes in an entirely different way. So if you're a leader right now looking at AI, the first thing you think about should be effectiveness. So what is it going to take for me to do something that's effective for my customers or for my employees? And once you've figured out what it takes to be effective, then you can talk about how to do it efficiently. So the organizations who are going to succeed with AI are the ones who chase value rather than efficiency. So they're looking at, if AI arbitrarily could do the bottom 30% of what I do, that's not success, that's just your sort of entry ticket to really go to the next level, which is, so now I've got 30% extra capacity. What am I going to do that's going to deliver more value in this process to my customer, to my employees? And the ones that will thrive will be the ones that continue to chase that value. As the rising tide of AI comes through all of our organizations, so will the opportunity for us to deliver more and more value. And that is the sweet spot for really where we can take AI in our organizations and elevate the humans that are within them. The key word in here is trust, right? And one of the things that we've learned over, well, I'm going to say decades, but is actually, tens, if not hundreds of years of working with technology as a society, is that trust follows value. If we do things that add value to our people's lives, to our customers' lives, to our employee lives, over time we tend to trust them. We will all remember, it would be what, let's say 10, 15 years ago, you go to do your online shopping, and 10 or 15 years ago, that was pretty new. And then there'll be that moment when you go to sort of check out where it's like, enter your credit card. And you would freeze. Oh, I don't know about that. I'm not going to put my credit card in. How do I know? And what happens over time is we realize actually buying stuff online is really helpful. I'm at a point now where not only am I typing it, I don't even bother typing in my credit card because Google or Apple have already got it and they're filling it in for me. The reason that happened is we built trust in two ways. We delivered value, but we built the architecture, the infrastructure that created a way of doing that in a trusted way. We'll do exactly the same with AI. The second part of your question was about how do we stop people from experimenting? And I'm not sure we should, right? We just need to find a way to do that safely and to do that in a way that's manageable and scalable. The best thing about AI is we've lowered the barrier of entry. So normal people, not nerds like me, can innovate and accelerate what they're doing, deliver real business value, and we shouldn't stop that. We should find a way to facilitate that and to do it in a way that's safe and scalable. The trick with this, so AI makes it really simple to prototype things. And what we tend to want to do with a prototype, we want to take that to production. And to an old school IT guy like me, production means some big, enterprise-wide IT governance heavy program that will never get delivered because it just becomes too big. What I see happen in the organizations that are being successful is they've found a happy middle ground between prototype and full production, which enables us to get the business value of the prototype. So it is scalable, it is secure, and it is resilient, but we've not had to go to the full extent of delivering it as a full enterprise-wide program. And that requires a little bit of rethinking on our part in terms of how we manage the technology. It also requires a big shift. Typically we ask the IT guys own risk, like cyber risk in the organization, and that's wrong, right? It's not the cyber guys, it's not the IT guys that should own that. The business owns the risk of cyber. And so we've got to relinquish some of that risk back to the business, help them understand it and help them make decisions that open up the ability to use those things rather than put them into a full production. And here's the fun, right? So measuring productivity, we are taught, again, a couple of hundred years of economics and capitalism will teach us that, productivity is about efficiency. It's about output divided by input. And if I can make more things more quickly, more cheaply, then I'm being productive. But how do you know that you're doing the right things? And the challenge with AI is I can do all the processes really quickly, but maybe I shouldn't be doing those processes at all. Maybe AI gives me a completely different way. So it's back to this difference between effectiveness and efficiency. I don't want to measure productivity on efficiency, so I've been able to do as much in amount of time. I want to measure productivity and effectiveness. I've been able to deliver these products, these outcomes, and this customer satisfaction. That should be the measure. That's going to be really tricky for us to do because it kind of breaks how we've thought about the world in an economic infrastructure kind of way. In a sense, customer experience and employee experience are exactly the same thing. It's human experience is what we're talking about. And AI should give us the ability to create natural language conversations with customers, employees. And if we're thinking back to, really what with sort of my whole pitch is about is human-centered AI, we're thinking about what is the human experience at the end of this, not what system do I need to build to tick the boxes to make sure it's secure, it gives me the data that I want so I can mark it or whatever. What is the human experience? What is the human that's consuming this experience actually trying to do? And understanding that, that's when we really get to the heart of the change that we can deliver through AI. I guess there's a couple of things around sort of safe AI and delivery, and it's back to that point about risk is something that we all have to share as an organisation. It can't just be in the realm of IT and cyber. It's a shared risk with the business. I think sometimes it means that the IT guys have to help the business understand the risk, because right now the businesses can't see the trajectory of where AI is going to go, but the IT guys often can. So if we can have a shared understanding and acceptance of risk, then I think that takes us to a really important stage where we can start to experiment and we can lean into it rather than be fearful of it. What I love about GX is it's kind of a unique experience from an audience perspective. It's a really diverse set of players, stakeholders in the room. It's not one key audience or another. And I think that's really important for a technology like AI. And I'm not sitting here in a way I might have been 15 years ago talking about cloud computing as a new way of doing, IT. AI is transformational to all of us. And it's really unique that you would have that sort of diversity represented in an audience. So I'm really, excited about the opportunity to engage with that, because I think through that diversity, we can figure out a way that brings all of us further forward.